I'm sure you saw the report that there was a tiger at the Bronx Zoo that
Yeah,
tested positive for COVID.
right.
Any thoughts on how that pertains to elephants? If COVID affects them at all?
Right. So, actually, one of the initial reports I saw on COVID-19, or I guess what people now are parsing things out, we should probably call the virus SARS CoV-2
Okay.
and the disease that's associated with it, COVID-19. Um, but when I saw initial studies on the SARS CoV-2 virus and the receptor that it's required to bind to and to infect its susceptible host. So it seems to be especially now adapted to growing in humans. And that's because it can bind to the human receptor called I think it's angiotensin converting enzyme 2 or ACE2 receptor. Maybe you've got people have heard about that in the news. And it seems to be especially well adapted to binding to the human ACE2. And in an earlier report, they looked at ACE2 receptors from a number of species. And in that early report, cats and ferrets were listed as animals that had an ACE2 receptor that looked uh, fairly closely related to the human one, and maybe made the conjecture that cats and ferrets might be potential hosts for this virus. So I guess it's a long-winded way of me saying I'm not totally surprised that some feline species might have gotten the virus. Um, Now, in terms of how it might cause disease in these species, that's, for me, that's anybody's guess. Of course, the question you're leading up to is what does the elephant ACE2 receptor look like, and could elephants be susceptible? And of course, I already went and looked at the available information for, what does the ACE2 receptor in elephants look like? There are some changes or differences in that receptor compared to the human one, which this virus seems to be particularly, the SARS-CoV-2 seems to be particularly well adapted to. And the changes in the elephant receptor are in areas that are seem to be particularly important parts of the receptor. So I'm not saying that the virus can't infect elephants, but it looks to me like it would be somewhat unlikely that it could infect elephants just based on the homology of the receptor.